How many of you can think of a time when you have experienced anxiety? Do you ever get really nervous and sweaty before a test, worry about an outcome of a situation, or stress about getting work done? I'm sure most, if not all of you, have dealt with the emotion when faced with problems, test taking, or making big decisions. WebMD 2005 LLC tells us that anxiety is a normal human emotion that everyone experiences at times. Anxiety disorders, however, are different. They can cause such distress that it interferes with a person's ability to lead a normal life. Anxiety can be a serious disorder when characterized as excessive worry and stress that occurs often about simple things. Throughout this speech, I will define generalized anxiety disorder. I will also discuss symptoms, causes, and reliefs of anxiety. Lastly, I will provide statistics about the disorder. The Anxiety and Depression Association of America 2010 defines generalized anxiety disorder as characterized by persistent, excessive, and unrealistic worry about everyday things. Many people do not realize that there is a significant difference between the anxiety we all experience every now and then and the complications of having an anxiety disorder. I find it easy to understand because I live with an anxiety disorder every day. My freshman year in high school, I started to have problems breathing every few weeks. My chest would get really tight, and I would just kind of freeze in whatever position I was in because of a little bit of pain. My doctor had no idea what the issue was, so he prescribed me an inhaler, saying it was some form of asthma he wasn't sure about. Unfortunately, he did not ask enough questions. From my senior year to my first year in college, I discovered the true meaning of depression. I had such a hard time coping with everything, trying to keep a positive attitude and mood every day, keeping myself from trying to sleep all day, and dealing with any issues, no matter how simple they were. I finally went back to the doctor because of some odd stomach pains and the abnormal breathing was more frequent. This doctor asked a lot of questions and helped me to be able to talk about the problems I was having. She diagnosed me with depression and anxiety. I was put on an antidepressant to help with the anxiety attacks and mood swings, but counseling wasn't necessary. The medication helped quite a bit, but it's aggravating that there is more to it than that. It's difficult to keep good relationships with a lot of people, even if they're really close to you. A lot of times they don't really understand. They think you're just in a bad mood or overreacting about everything. It gets frustrating on their end too. It gets hard to deal with stress from work and school, and a lot of times I want to give up, and I get a bad attitude about it all. It appears that I am really overreacting about the situations, but it's really difficult sometimes to handle different situations. I have been off medication for about 2 years. It seems to get easier to control everything, such as my reactions and moods, but every now and then it'll go back downhill. It's great help to have medication when needed, and especially people who do their best to understand, support, and help me through the rough periods. It's just something that I had to learn to work through and live with. Now that you're aware of what an anxiety disorder is, and you have had a first-hand account, I'll share with you other symptoms associated with it, causes, treatments, and relief. Mayo Clinic 1998 and WebMD 2005 both provide many symptoms associated with generalized anxiety disorder. Common symptoms include headaches, trouble breathing, trouble concentrating, sweating, tiredness, excessive worry and stress, irritability, and muscle tension. People who suffer from this disorder often have other disorders, depression, or they've even tried to self-medicate themselves by using drugs or alcohol. Mayo Clinic and WebMD also provide a list of causes of the disorder and ways to relieve it. Genetics, brain chemistry, trauma, major life changes could all be possible causes for anxiety. Therapy or counseling are good reliefs for people struggling with anxiety disorders. There are also many types of medications and antidepressants. Most commonly heard of are Lexapro, Zoloft, and Prozac. Mayo Clinic suggests a few home remedies such as exercise, a healthy diet, sleep, relaxation, alcohol avoidance, and socialization. National Institutes of Health explains that sometimes people must try several different treatments or combinations of treatments before they find the one that will work for them. Lastly, I will share with you statistics about anxiety and the people who deal with it. The ADAA 2010 tells us that 1 in 8 children are affected with anxiety disorder. 40 million adults in the U.S. suffer from some sort of anxiety disorder as well. 6.8 million adults, which is 3.1% of the U.S. population, suffers from the generalized anxiety disorder alone. Women are twice as likely to be affected as men. People with a disorder are 3 to 5 more times likely to see a doctor and 6 times more likely to be hospitalized than those who do not. Anxiety disorders are treatable, but only 1/3 people who suffer actually receive any type of treatment. The ADAA defines generalized anxiety disorder as characterized by persistent, excessive, and unrealistic worry about everyday things. There are many other types of disorders along with symptoms and causes. There are also many ways to treat anxiety. Many people do great controlling their symptoms during their everyday activities. Others have a hard time and may be more noticeable. If anyone you know has an anxiety in excess or for long periods of time, it may be very possible that they are suffering with a disorder. It is very difficult to try and live with and cope with every day. Even though you may not fully understand, just try and be patient and help them the best you can. They will really appreciate it.